Brilliant first session for England, much needed. 3 wickets, that key one of Virat Kohli. Moeen Ali, you saw Virat back in the dressing room. He wasn't happy, he was punching the walls. He knew that he just had that lapse in concentration. His partnership is a threatening one. Rishabh Pant, Shardul Thakur played so well in the first innings, and it feels like this, we keep saying it, this hour.
It is, isn't it?
It feels like a very big hour in the game.
Again, yes, it really does. So Moeen's going to start. He'll be round the wicket to the left-handed punt. There's a slip and a forward short leg in, backward point, extra, mid-off, a long on. Deep mid-wicket and a square leg. I wonder if we'll see a difference of approach from Punt. He was playing very much within himself before lunch, quite understandably. Playing the circumstances. Will he counter-attack now? As Moeen is into him round the wicket, and Punt goes back into his crease and just works a short ball easily enough out to wide, long on. They're going to come back for 2. Throw comes in from Pope. Really good running. Really on it there. Thakur and Punt, they pick up 2, 3:31 for 6.
Yeah, and you saw Rory Burns and Jimmy Anderson backing up. We saw some overthrows just before Virat was out off Moeen Ali, just before lunch. Nice to see Rory Burns and Jimmy decided to back up just in case.
Here's Moeen again to Punt, and Punt goes back and cuts out to deep extra cover, but there's protection out there, and so they just get through for the single. 3:32 for 6. There is a great bunch of emails that have come in over the lunch break because we have been discussing the leg over incident, famous leg over incident. I'll try and get through some of them. But you never know, wickets or runs may get in the way. It's quite a crucial part of the game here.
Yeah, an extra cover been put in place to Shardul Thakur from backward point.
Moeen's into the right-handed Thakur, who drives crisply up to root. That's mid-off. And there is no run. Where were you when the leg over incident happened? How old would you have been?
What year is it?
1991.
1990. I would I be 16, 17, just playing probably academy cricket at Yorkshire, second team cricket.
Did it filter into your consciousness quickly as Moeen is in and Thakur comes forward, gets a thick edge, and it's going to run away down towards the boundary. It's being pursued by Overton from slip, and he'll get to it. They'll come through for 2 more. All these are crucial runs for India as they seek to build a lead in excess of 300. They're now 3:34 for 6.
I was probably playing England under 19s or something like that. I've heard a lot more about it in the last 12 or so years I've been broadcasting.
Yeah. Moeen in again, and Thakur pushes forward into space on the offside. He wants a single that isn't there. Throw comes in, and now they're going to go upstairs and have a look at the ball. What's happened to the ball? The ball has disappeared for overthrows out to deep point.
I'll tell you what, Dan, he turned Thakur here so slowly. Well, I just wonder if he's got his bat down.
I wonder, actually.
TV umpire to director, we have an umpire review for a run out.
Really wasn't
see your best side on angle, please.
Throw came in. This is going to tell us everything.
He's going to be gone, you know.
No, he's safe. Just safe.
Okay, just
it's a direct hit.
And once more through. Okay, ready for my decision on the big screen.
Yep, he's in by an inch, I'd say, maybe an inch and a half. He did run his bat in. That's what saved him. He managed to turn and just slide the bat in.
That was. We've seen some very slow turns in the game. I reckon that's up there with the slowest.
Well, Thakur is not, let's say, of a nimble frame.
No.
Would that be fair to say?
Well, it's fair, but you know, I've seen some that have not had nimble frames turn a bit quicker.
Yeah, that was sort of QE2 turning circle, really, wasn't it? He committed to the run, and Punt was going absolutely nowhere. He had no interest at all in the run. But they did get a single because it deflected off the stumps.
It's Chris Woakes with the fielding. Can't keep him out of the game.
It's a direct hit from Woakes. It's really tight, that. He had to turn when he did, and he had to slide the bat in, or else he would have been a goner. So Moeen now to Punt, the left-hander. Slip in, full ball, which has just worked along the ground, really carefully and easily up to Pope at long on. And they pick up a single. There were, as a result, 8 runs off that first over after lunch, without really having... 7. 3:37 for 6, it says the score here. Did we not... Well, I'm confused. 336 for 6 on one scoreboard, 337 on the other two. So,
Bit of warning for you here, Dan. If you're going to use this sanitizer, it's a bit lively on your screws.
oh, I have done. Yeah, this one. Yeah,
it's lovely.
It splurts quite alarmingly. And I'm also slightly concerned to use it on air because it is so alcoholic. I kind of think I might actually just come in through the pores of my hand. By the end of the evening, I could be
Can't have a go.
full on.
The ball from the pavilion end.
Hey! You're not wrong.
It's lively.
Like
isn't it?
going on a water slide. Horrendous. It's all over the rotor. So, who's going to start up from the pavilion end? It looks like it's going to be Chris Woakes.
Yeah, what a spell he produced this morning.
Oh.
He just got enough movement either way. Trapped at Jadeja, LBW, and then Rahani got one to just nip back. I mean, Rahani's shot was poor, just playing across the line of the ball.
When he's come on to bowl, he's changed the game, hasn't he? It was his first over of the match that produced the first wicket when England had looked a bit flat after winning the toss back on the first day. And then again today, when they looked a little flat the first half an hour, he came on.
Yeah, I'm just going back to that Pakistan game at Old Trafford that England chased 270 odd. 7 wickets down. It was Woakes on that occasion. Butler.
Yeah, Woakes
a great
and Butler.
partnership.
Terrific that was. Woakes in, started a new over, and he's gloriously played through the offside, off the back foot. It's been pursued, though, eagerly by Hasib Hamid, who reaches the ball, and they'll come back for 3. It was a back foot punch from Punt. I sense there's a bit of busyness going on here.
Would it be fair to say, Dan, usually
Yeah.
the oval, the square goes all the way along
Yeah.
the outfield, obviously square of the wicket. It's usually a bit barer by this time of
Yeah.
year. It's very lush, isn't it? So the ball actually isn't racing across the square as quick as it has in the past.
It's normally like a sort of snooker table, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
that
actually,
slowed up quite quickly.
well, when we were here during the Sri Lanka series, which we commentated, did we not, from here back in the day, back in January, they had a huge tent out on the outfield. So towards
That's
our
right.
left, there are about 11 pitches and a massive tent, which sort of kept it, and it looks quite lush over there, actually, where the tent was. It's quite green.
So we were in Manchester. And what were the animals that you used to describe every morning?
Oh, there was a fox.
fox. That's it.
Woakes is in. To Tucker gets up on his toes and defends back to Woakes. Yes, Alistair Cook took something of a dislike to that fox.
It was depositing, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it would come up, it would jump over the boundary hoardings. It's a little lope around the boundary. It would bother some pigeons. And when it snowed, you saw his little paw prints in the snow. And then it would jump up over here and then go and sit in the seats here and just have a snooze. Woakes in again. Tucker plays at this outside the off stump and misses it. He was perilously close to getting an edge to that one. It's a bit short, didn't need to play at it. Poked his bat at it, and it did just jag away.
It's just that bit of bounce. I mean, yesterday we didn't see any kind of bounce off a length. Today we've seen a lot more, whether it's just the pitch has got a bit dry and there's a few crusty bits. It's what generally happens on days 4 and 5. It's been a tremendous test match wicket. I think it's had a bit of everything so far.
Well, there's 2 slips and they're very wide, which, well, we'll see how that pans out as Woakes is into Tucker, drives firmly in the air, out towards the cover point boundary for 4. Sort of a Caribbean no-foot thrash through the offside. And that's brought the Bharat Army to life. It's a bit more like the Tucker we saw in the first innings, 343 for 6.
Yeah, great shot. It's there to hit and he just commits. Now, you mentioned the pigeons.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Well, I know, this is one of the great mysteries.
Yeah, they usually are always here for the test
Well,
match.
They've been here all season for the county games. And
They're
they
not like test cricket.
I don't know. I think they've been seduced by the 100, perhaps. You never know. They might be elsewhere. They might have.
That's not good for the game, is it? If
No.
the pigeons have decided test cricket's not for them.
They might have emigrated or making their way to the UAE for the World T20. I've no idea. But normally, you're right. You'd see great clusters of them. Usually at this time of day, they'd be away to our left. Woakes comes in once more, and Tucker drives nicely into the offside, just wide of a deeply set mid-on, so they can get through for a single. Anderson with the fielding, 344 for 6. At the end of this over, I'll give you an email or 2 that we've had in response to our lunchtime feature. If you're just joining us, we did a dissection of the leg over incident back in 1991, the anniversary of which it is. Brian Johnston and Jonathan Agnew reducing themselves to fits of hysterical giggles.
It's been a good start to the session so far by India, 15 runs.
Wokes in, punt lets it go outside the off stump, and there is no run.
Yeah, 15 runs from the 2 overs since lunch, 11 from the last 2 before lunch, so 26 in the last 4 overs. There'd been just 22 in the previous 15 for the loss of 3 wickets. Chris Wokes' first spell today, 2 for 4 from 6 overs, but that over went for 8.
Thank you, Andy. Sue Manser has been in touch. She says, this event, the leg over, will never be forgotten. I can picture myself sitting at the dining table surrounded by GCSE exam papers. I was the chief examiner for EdXL and was finishing the marking of the GCSE exam papers, hundreds of them. There were in heaps of 20 on our dining table. I was checking the marking of my team and the addition of the marks awarded. As Moeen Ali starts a new over, I'll come back to that. Slip, forward short leg in. And Thakur just clips a full delivery up to Pope at long on for another single, 345 for 6. It had been a long day and I decided to switch on the radio to listen to the end of the test match. Shortly after switching on, the discussion began and it just built to the point I was crying with laughter. I called my husband to come and listen. He only caught the end of the laughing but could hear the hilarity on the radio. It made my day and the marking of GC exam papers a less tedious activity. Moeen in to the left-handed punt who pushes off the back foot to backward point. And there's no run. She finishes by saying, when I have been feeling fed up, I will play the interview on YouTube and it always lightens my mood.
Dan, I'm going to run you through a few county scores.
Oh, yes. Are there any
first
good
day
news for me? Moeen into punt, and punt stretches forward and pushes into the offside. It's picked up by Rory Burns at short extra, and there's no run.
So for those that, big England fans think, oh, come on, how many of those batters are sticking their hands up to
Sibley, Crawley.
Get big scores, force themselves back into the game. I'll read a few scores for you.
Okay. Moeen flatter is cut, thrashed out to deep extra cover, where there is a sweeper, one more to the total.
So Somerset versus Yorkshire at Scarborough. Somerset 119 for 9. Warwickshire versus Hampshire. Hampshire 89 all out.
Oh, crikey.
Nottinghamshire 125 for 2 against Lancs. That's a good start. Your team Surrey 89 for 4 against Northamptonshire.
Against Northampton. Moeen in, tossed up, driven back to the bowler. There's no run.
Worcestershire 123 for 9. Gloucestershire 76 all out. Essex 22 for 2.
Wow.
There's a lot of wickets falling on a Sunday.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. Glamorgan 97 all out.
Moeen gets a thick inside edge from Thakur, which lands just in front of Hasib Hamid at short leg. It's quite close there to prizing out a wicket, but it hasn't. End of the over, 346 for 6. The lead, 247 and growing, as Michael Vaughan said. Good start.
Yeah, so there's 3 county teams have been bowled out for 100, under 100, and Somerset 119 for 9.
Any bowling feats? I mean, because
Worcestershire 123 for 9.
You're talking about the batting, but England might need some replacement bowlers for Old Trafford because some of them look like they're running on empty here.
Okay, so Jamie Porter's 4 for 32. Cook's 3 for 27 for Essex. Harmer 3 for 2 from 3.
He's England qualified.
Is he qualified?
I'm not sure that he is. No, nearly is.
There's a lot of low scores. You'd think in these conditions, I'm sure. I think it's sunny all over the country, isn't it?
I thought so.
Glamorgan, who got those records?
It's only here we see batting prevail. Woke starts a new over from the pavilion end. Punt drives off thick inside half of the bat. They go through for a quick single. Giles stumps hits. It's direct, but I think Punt is home comfortably. That was an enterprising run from Punt. He saw that Anderson was just a little bit on his heels at mid-on, quite deep.
So Alistair's out for 15.
15?
LBW Higgins.
Ryan Higgins. Yeah. Is Darren Kent played?
Worcestershire 123 for 9.
Did Darren Steve get any?
10 overs, 1 for 19. Gilchrist 4 for 36. And Milnes, Adam Milnes, he's a terrific bowler, isn't he? 4 for 29 for him.
Matt
Milnes. Sorry, there's not so the only team really. 125 for 2. Joe Clark's on 12 and North East. He's playing for his 3rd team of the year. Hampshire, Yorkshire now not. 39 not out.
Here is Wokes running in now to the right-handed Thakur. Thakur pushes forward in defence. It's fielded in the covers. Commentary, by the way, on all those county games and the Charlotte Edwards Finals Day on the BBC Sport website and app. Charlotte Edwards Finals Day today with, that's where Surrey can say they're called South East Stars, aren't they? But that's a hope for double short form glory for a side from women's side from the Oval.
Claiming them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's my ground. Wokes into Tucker. Tucker comes back onto his back foot and pushes back to Wokes. Comfortably enough. Not seen really any real danger for the Indian batters since lunch. It's all been pretty plain sailing.
Yeah, they're just hoping for just a little bit of nip from Wokes or a mistake. I mean, when you're playing against these kind of players, you know that they've certainly got it in them to hit the ball in the air. So wherever you are in the field, you've got to get ready. And it really could come to anybody with the way that these two play.
Here is Wokes once more. Those two slips in. Tucker clips away nicely off his pads down to a deep backward square leg, really. It's a squarer than a conventional long leg. 348 for 6. Tucker moves to 21.
It really is, Dana. The development there, Matt Battersea, you're a local guy, aren't you?
Yes.
You're basically building a new town around here, aren't you?
They are, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, not too far away. We've got a whole new station going in at Nine Elms at Vauxhall, because there's a spur that's coming off, I think it's going off the Northern Line, isn't it? That's going to go towards Battersea Park, which will open up what was kind of a hinterland, really, from Vauxhall down to Battersea Park, just along the river there.
It's very impressive.
Wokes into punt, who plays with an angle bat to backward point. There's no run. You mentioned Sam Northeast there, Michael. You think of all the people, players like he and Hildreth, they seem to be outliers that didn't get an England crack?
Yeah, I think so. I think particularly someone like Hildreth, who has been such a consistent scorer for Somerset for years and years. There are always a few in every generation that you kind of look back and think missed out. And I guess they'll be looking at players that have been picked of late, probably saying to themselves, come on, I've been a lot more consistent and I'm actually a better player than some that have had the opportunity. But you always get these players, don't you, that you can't
David
pick
Sales, I'd say. So he was your sort of generation, wasn't he?
Well, they
David
got very
Sales
close, and then he had the problems with his knees.
Right.
He was certainly close in white ball cricket. Could hit a good ball. His son has been picked for England under 19s.
See, he hit a triple hundred, didn't he, in the county game, Sales? Wokes into punt, who pushes forward in defence on the front foot to a fullish, straightish ball, and that completes the over. There was no run from that last ball. 348 for 6. Tucker 21. Punt 25. Are you assuming it's too late for North East now? I mean, you look at players like Hussey arrived at the side late, the Australian side, didn't they? And England have sort of swapped their selection strategy around. It was young batters and older bowlers at the start of the season. Now it's kind of flipped a bit.
Well, I guess it's never out of the realms of possibility that what are we talking, 31 years of age, Sam Northey. I mean, Milan's back in the side at 34, but he's an international cricketer in the T20 team, and obviously he's played Test cricket before. To get your debut late in the day doesn't always happen, does it? But
no,
you never know. I mean, I guess in an era where we're desperate in English cricket for longer format batters ever.
Moeen Ali starts a new over. Bowls a ball that turns gently back into the right-handed Thakur, pushes back to him.
Anybody that goes and gets 4 or 5 centuries will be pushed into the list. They like to bring them through the Lions and the development first, don't they?
Moeen in, tosses that up a bit more, and it's pushed off the back foot firmly by Thakur into space, just in front of square on the offside. And with that, the lead advances to 250. India 349 for 6 with that single. They're batting England out of this game. They urgently need a wicket, England. They need it soon. Now this is intriguing. Thakur is, despite the fact that Moeen's bowling around the wicket, is actually standing on the other side, around the wicket. He's not standing on the...
I think he's
now he's about to move.
He forgot there.
I thought that was a little odd.
He's obviously a little bit dozy, isn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think I'd do that.
I was thinking, what's he going to run from wide? Moeen in to punt, who stretches forward and pushes to Burns at extra cover. Along the ground, the front foot, there's no run. Moeen just trying to drag him forward, get a bit of turn. Not seen it yet, have we, out of those foot marks, really?
Well, the silly point's been taken out to mid-wicket.
Moeen in again, that's been firmly struck down the ground and bounces once before crashing into the covers down below us. Super shot from Rishabh Pant, using his feet He hasn't done that as much as you might have imagined. He got to the pitch of the ball. It was tossed up a little bit more by Moeen, and he judged it perfectly. And it was a flat thwack that landed about 3 yards inside the boundary sponge for 4.
Yeah, I remember in the winter when he suddenly started to hit Jack Leach and he kind of got his range, he just kept on going.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll feel that now's the time to really get after Moeen Ali. It won't be long before England realise they're going to have to make the change because runs are coming too easily.
They are, aren't they? Now, the balls had to be sanitised as a result of being where it was. Yes.
Partnership now 41 from 11.4 overs. And that's Pant's first boundary from his 54th ball.
Wow. It tells you everything about his approach today. It's been very different and it's been effective. Moeen into him again, and he just turns his ball into the onside, finds the space, and Hasib Hamid has to move to his left to gather. One more to the total. The 350 came up with the 4. Now it's 354 for 6. Punt has 30. Thakur 22. This partnership has now yielded 42. Thank you. You were there to save me from...
Well, I told you it was 41 before that ball down. So.
You did, yes. Moeen in, punched off the back foot. Beautifully through extra cover. It's been pursued by Roots. He's going to give it up. What great timing from Thakur. If the first innings was all about heaves and thrashes and fortune, this has been stylish and elegant. Great shot from Thakur. Takes him to 26. India 358 for 6. Punt has 30. The lead 259. The pressure is piling on England. More from Michael Vaughan to take through the next 20 minutes. So it's going to be, he should go up.
Yeah, I think now's the time that Joe Root's got to realise that Moeen Ali's done his job. Really, he's got Virat Kohli, but he's bowled 22 overs. He's gone for 98. So he's gone at over 4 runs per over. That was a glorious shot. As Dan mentioned, perfect timing. Afternoon, Isha. It's the test match that
keeps on giving.
Well, yeah, it keeps on getting a team in front, and then
Yep.
England grabbed it back this morning, and inside 22 minutes of the afternoon session, India have thrown a punch back. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, it really is. And now, no clouds in the sky. There were a few this morning, but it is completely blue sky now as Chris Woakes will continue from the pavilion end, bowling to Pant, who's on the back foot punching to cover, no run. Fairly heavily packed offside field now for Rishabh Pant. And Dan Norcross's prediction before play of India being 400 ahead at tea, still very much on. Lead of 259 at the moment. I thought that I sensed a partnership brewing between these two. It is looking pretty flat out there at the moment. But you can always count on England to punch back. That's just the way the series has gone so far, as Woakes comes in an angle to Pant, who's forward and defending back down the pitch. And he's going to come through for a single as well. Just gently leans on it. And Chris Woakes with a misfield, so Thakur back on strike. 359 for 6, lead of 260.
Yeah, he's playing lovely, Thakur. 26 from 38. Virat, you can see on the screen, he looks a bit more relaxed than we saw just before lunch. After he got out, he was disappointed with his stroke. I think he realised he'd just lost his concentration for that one delivery. It's all it takes.
He's always gibbering away, isn't he? Woakes is in to Thakur, who defends to the offside. Sort of squares him up there, slightly straighter in line and length. But
well, where India are changing, they're not in the normal change room because of the times that we're in. They're in the, I think it's renowned as the debenture suite, where all these, they're very wealthy by their seats, and they're really comfy chairs, and that's where the Indian dressing facilities are this week.
so they're being treated like kings.
Oh, it looks lovely, doesn't it? No wonder they want to get out quickly and go and sit on those chairs.
Thakur backing across and fends at the ball out in front of him. Mistimes it almost. Quite easy, could have popped up to the short extra fielder there, but he manages to keep it down. But yeah, generally, whenever the camera goes on him and he's up there, he's pretty much always talking or having a laugh, or there's just so much energy that comes out of him, and it's usually him doing the talking as well, isn't it? There'll be like 6 or 7 players around him, and he's the one who holds the attention.
I think if you're in Virat's company, you just better off listening.
Yeah. But it just takes an extraordinary effort to have that energy as Thakur drives back to Wokes. No run.
Like probably what feeds him, that's what he's about. That's why he loves being the leader, loves being the captain. There'll come a time, potentially, when he's not the captain, that might be difficult for him. Might be a time when he has to change his ways a little bit.
I think he'll be okay with it, actually. I just... No, don't agree.
I just think he just looks like that person that he wants
he likes
to be
have
the
control.
leader. Yeah, I think so.
There's Wokes in on an angle, driving Thakur, but just beating a diving cover fielder to his right, and would head out to the boundary. Mid off running around to stop the ball from hitting the fence as comes back for 2, but he wasn't in control of that shot, Thakur. He was looking to play it a lot straighter than he did. Moves to 28, lead of 262. End of the over.
It's now 32 in 6 overs since lunch. And just looking at the way Rishabh Pant has batted in this innings, before lunch, 41 balls, 16 runs, 4 of them from an overthrow. He only had 10 scoring shots in those first 41 balls. Since lunch, he's faced 16 balls. He scored from 9 of them and made 15 runs, including his first boundary. On Kohli, though, we've talked about his long run of declined form, averaging mid-20s since the start of 2020. Michael, do you think there's an element as a captain where the sort of long-term fatigue starts to set in terms of your concentration as a batsman?
You could argue that you should get better and better the more that you do the role. I just think he's going through I think he's playing fine now. I just think he's going through one of those periods where that
happens.
Just that small mistake. And today was a small mistake. In the first innings, it was a small little technical mistake, and he's being punished. There'll be a time in his career where he doesn't get punished for those small mistakes. He'll have a golden trot once again as the batter and the captain of the side. He's playing well enough to get the big scores. He's just being punished for that just that dip in concentration. Whether that's coming because of the energy he spends all day, every day, only he can answer that. But I don't think so. I just think he's going through one of those periods. Jimmy's into the attack.
Here comes Jimmy then, bowling to Rishabh Pant, who covers the ball and works it to mid-wicket, no run. Line ball, just angled across him.
Do you think there's any element of Rishabh thinking, I'm going to dance down and try and whack one?
Yeah, I think there is. Andy's just said that the scoring rate has significantly increased after lunch. I wonder what he's had.
No, but he hasn't done anything, has he, really? He's just played. He's yet to kind of take a huge risk. That shot down the ground off Moeen Ali is quite a low risk for someone like Rishabh.
Punt, bat angle towards Gully as he clips out to long leg for a single. Gets off strike, moves to 32, 362 for 6 India, lead of 263.
And that's their 50 partnership in just 13.2 overs. They've been going at just over 3.7 an over after they'd lost 3 wickets for 16 in a 10-over spell.
I was just about to say, I wonder what he's had in terms of advice over lunch. No Ravi Shastri with the group, of course, so Virat Kohli and him naturally probably discussing how to play this. And with the way that we've seen him bat across the course of the series, he has looked to unleash on wickets that are doing a bit. Here he feels a bit more casual and relaxed. Has scored a century here, of course, before, as Jimmy has passed the stumps to Thakur, who's clipping it through mid-wicket. Diving to his right, Craig Overton to take the ball. In fact, that's Ollie Robinson down there at mid-on. Comes 3 for 1.
Yeah, this pitch now he's playing more like a pitch that he's used to back home. No swing, no seam. A great deal of pace, just a hint of spin. So I think he knows exactly how to play on this kind of surface. I think when the ball's nipping and seaming around, his technique does look like it's a bit vulnerable. So he probably thinks he has to gamble. So far he hasn't really gambled too much. He's not had to. He's 32 from 59.
Taps his bat down. Here he drives to extra cover. Man positioned in there, no run. Lead of 264. So if you're India, you're thinking another wicket and England can quite easily get through the last 3. India don't want to risk anything in this situation, knowing that the pitch is pretty good to bat on. And so maybe just trying to eat out a little bit of time before they're in a position to launch a bit more and get themselves into a position where England can't win.
Yeah, they've just got to bat as long as they can. And the longer they bat, those footholds will develop, pitch will wear a bit more.
Punt, forward press, and tucks the ball to mid-wicket off the front foot, no run.
But you look at, the ball this morning definitely did a bit more than yesterday, but only for a short while. Since lunch, it's gone flat again. So, England have got a chance, whatever they're chasing on this kind of survey with the batting lineup and the depth. But history, as we know, it's against England already. Only twice has 250 been chased down at this venue, so it's not going to be easy. But when you just look at the pitch and the way that he's playing, there's no Ashwin.
Will that come back to haunt them as Punt is defending to the offside? No run. End of the over. 2-6-4 then the lead here on day 4 of this Kia Oval Test match. 1-1 apiece in the series with 1 to play up at Manchester. How's the weather looking next week, Michael?
The weather will be nice, Ish. You don't even have to look. Just get yourself to Manchester. Bring an anorak.
Okay.
Bring a coat.
What, Liam Gallagher style?
Yeah, just bring a coat just in case. I don't think you'll need it. But starts on Friday. I'd say you might not need your shorts. You need a few layers.
Okay, so it's going to be cold?
Fun. Yeah, it might be fresh.
Fresh, okay. Any rain?
Oh, you'd be unfortunate to get any rain in Manchester in September. Can't imagine it's going to rain.
I think I've already checked the weather forecast.
Not so good.
I think there's a little bit of rain around.
Bit of drizzle.
Yeah, a little
Light
bit
drizzle.
Light drizzle. So Woakes to continue from the pavilion end, as you say, it is looking a lot flatter, not doing as much. He was able to bring about a couple of crucial wickets in that last session as Thakur drives to extra cover. No run. There's a man in catching there. Moeen Ali's out at deep point. There's a slip in a gully in place. WinViz,
Isha, I've just seen on the screen, has England of having a 16% chance.
Okay.
And India a 61% chance.
So draw is...
Come on, Ish, you're good at maths.
I'm 23, was it?
I'm looking at
23%, isn't it?
out here, stats man. Thakur punches beautifully through mid-wicket. Wow, what a shot that was. Past Hasib Hamid, who was quite square at mid-wicket, and James Anderson has been able to collect the ball off the boundary, but that was a glorious looking shot as Thakur comes through for 3. 32 to him, 267 lead.
That was a straight batted back foot punch through straight mid-wicket. Lovely time, and he's played really nicely. Thakur, 23% the draw.
Okay.
I wouldn't have the draw ahead of
yeah.
victories either way.
No, I'm not with that.
I know India are favourites now, but I wouldn't have it over an England victory.
I think at lunch England were around about 35%, so they've had a significant drop-off with this productive session for India.
Wokeson again, punt defends solidly back down the track. No run. That was a nice high elbow, wasn't it, from Thakur? He was proving his worth with the bat in this test match.
Yeah, you just see the cameras are kind of zooming into the footholes. I'm sure they'll be talking about left-handers, likes of Malan, Rory Burns, Jadeja will be able to fire it into there. There'll be plenty of action for Jadeja out the rough. Don't think it'll spin too much off the posh bit. I've seen one from Moeen Ali turn, but it's not going to spin too much other than out of the rough.
Brown-haired Chris Woakes striking Pant on the pad. Slightly fuller, maybe pitching outside the leg stumps. He looks to whip it away. It trickles towards mid-wicket, so half appeal not given, and England don't review either. Just have a look at that again. It's almost a scramble seam, quite clearly pitching outside the line of leg stump. Helicopter disappearing behind the turrets on the far side of the ground of the pavilion in the blue haze as Woakes bowls. Punt cuts in front of point, just offers a tiny bit of width, and Richard Pant is onto it for 4. And more smiles for Virat Kohli. He is so animated up there, clapping ferociously. Pant moves to 36.
But it's like a supporter in the crowd, isn't he? Richard plays a great shot, goes to the boundary, races to the boundary. Camera, I'm pretty sure all directors of most TV crews just have one camera positioned on Virat, and he was up there like a supporter clapping that shot. Phil's arriving.
It's almost like a kid in a sweet shop when Pant played that. So he's on 36, lead of 2-7-1 now. Where's this breakthrough coming from? Wokes moving round the wicket to the left-hander, slipping a gully in position, and a man catching it mid-wicket. Point cover, who's quite square as Wokes is in to Pant, who's casually defending to the offside off the front foot. Good afternoon to you, Phil.
Afternoon, Isha. Afternoon, everyone. What a time to get a nice little partnership together for India.
You just sensed it was brewing before the break, didn't you?
Yeah. But they played nice. Thakur just looked just what the doctor ordered, isn't he? You know, positive, but then when it's straight and on the line, he plays nice and straight in defence.
We saw him look uncomfortable to the short ball. I just wonder if that's an option to him, but that's not going to come from Jimmy Anderson, I don't think. Not any persistent short stuff.
I don't think it's going to come from anyone. I think the only person who's bowled perhaps the most consistent short stuff has been Moeen.
To be fair, you're not wrong. Although he has been a bit better today, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's bowled a nice line, but just those couple of shots, he's just been short of a length. But then, the wider you bowl that tiger line outside the off stump, the smaller your margin comes in length.
Here comes Jimmy.
Like that. Look at that.
Well, he's playing that to wideish mid on. Off the front foot. Again, just the sound off the bat, it's so good, isn't it? It comes through for 1, moves to 33, lead of 2-7-2.
I mean, that's a confident shot now, isn't it? You're looking to, pick up cheeky singles. And
That's this pitch is as flat as a pancake shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't this morning for some reason. It just did a little bit, didn't it? Just
strange.
Very strange. Very strange. It'd be nice to go down there and have a look at it.
But it was the same yesterday. Although we had a cloud cover all day long, it did more in the first session, and then the afternoon, whether that's the roller wearing off, whether the morning conditions, bit of coolness in the air, and a bit of moisture maybe, as this pitch is now completely dried out because the sun has been baking on it all day. Anderson driving away to Pant to, well, he's had a cup of tea before he's played that shot.
Absolutely.
Coming forwards and patting it back.
Read the paper. Cup of tea. He's played nicely, hasn't he? He's just rocked forward. He's managed to sort of have a release shot during this innings. Managed to pick up 1s and 2s and just get some momentum instead of just sort of like, I need to hit a boundary. Yeah, he sort of developed this partnership nicely.
Imagine people having a barbecue this afternoon,
Nice,
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, lovely. What'd you go for?
As Anderson is into Pant, who's defending to mid-wicket, no run. Bit of chicken on the barbie.
Yeah.
Bit of tandoori chicken maybe.
Oh, a little bit of sauce on it.
Yeah. Bit of sausage.
That'll be nice.
Mustard.
Sausage, mustard, burger.
Bit of got to have a bit of salad, bit of greens.
Yeah.
Nice tipple as well. Bit of tonic water with maybe a Tuffers tipple.
Well, that would be nice. I might go for a nice piece of fish.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. Pant defending to mid-on.
Yeah, I bet there's a few knocking about this afternoon. It's glorious, isn't it? Been wandering around the back there at lunchtime. Just a little breeze. Beautiful.
Did you go past the cheese toasty truck?
No.
Oh.
Where's that?
Yeah, it's there. I think you've gone round the wrong way. If you
Don't
go round
say that to me on day 4.
You've got to go round clockwise. If you're going to the pavilion clockwise.
Oh, why always go the other way?
Yeah, missed out.
Oh, wow.
Pant plays the ball onto his pad and it flies towards extra cover, no run.
It's one of those kind of days where you open up the sort of the back door or whatever, just have it wafting out. If you hear something going on, you nip in,
What, the cheese toasty? Or
No, the telly or the radio. Or even have the radio out there. We'd have the radio out there, wouldn't you, on the Barbie?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Not on the Barbie, but...
Well, no. Yeah. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
A nice glass or something.
Good to be here as well, though.
Punt blocks to mid-off, and it's an easy single at the end of the over.
Cheeky.
Punt to 37, lead of 273 now for India. It's looking ominous again for England. A few words from you, Tuffers, and then Simon Mann.
Yeah, cheeky singles from Pant. Done well, hasn't he? 37 off of 71, not his usual kind of figures. It's a bit more frenetic from Punt, but he came together with that. What's the partnership?
Partnership is 60 from 16 overs at 3 3/4 and over.
Yeah, decent lick as well. Just started to take the game away from England. They need a breakthrough. Robinson, perhaps, yeah. And it is. He's done pretty well against Pant this summer with those balls that's just running away from his outside edge, and he wants to free his hands and have a bit of a dart through the covers, and there are 4 of them in the covers and a slip. Simon.
Before Simon comes in, I was going to say Wokes' 4-over spell there for none for 20. He'd taken 2 for 4 in 6 overs in his previous spell today.
Bit of freedom there for the Indian batsman this afternoon, though.
There is.
It's a nice time to come in, really. You're a stroke maker. You've done some hard work before lunch, and now you can make the most of it. England, as you say, Tubbs, they desperately need a wicket. India happy to forge on. Robinson bowls, Pant covers up to a ball going across him, around about off stump. Plays it to Hamid at backward point, and there is no run. So the lead is 273. I mean, the one thing that England will try to cling on to here is that India have been a little bit sort of 7 out, all out in this series. But it's the psychology of the game, it's changed, and the lower order can play with some freedom. If you get a couple away early on, someone like Bumrah comes out, gets away a couple
15.
And then suddenly, it all adds up, doesn't it? Yeah.
300 plus. As I say, we keep talking about leader 273 could be doable.
Robinson bowls, no stroke from Pant.
Still got 4 more to get out.
Yeah.
Even if you do sort of bowl pretty well, probably going to get 20 more. Yeah, but they're looking pretty well at the moment, I'm afraid. India. England got to do something sharpish.
Well, these two have added now
60 on.
60. Yeah, 60 for the 7th wicket. Tucker has had a good game with the bat,
hasn't he?
Really good. Yeah, and that's worked for them.
What is the average Tucker before coming in here?
Well, his current test average is 40.7, but he's only played a few games. He had a fine half century in Australia. His first class stats, I think he averages around about 17 or 18 with 6 half centuries. Yeah. So nothing spectacular, but he's been superb.
Yeah, he has.
England just made a substitution there. Here is Robinson bowling. It's flashed away by Pant, but straight at Hamid. It's a nice looking shot. Who's come onto the field? It looks like Dan Lawrence has come onto the field.
Yeah, you can tell by his jumper.
Who has gone off? Yes, you can tell by his jumper.
Well, it's not a great fitting jumper. Agger's brought it to my attention. Where is? Oh, he hasn't got a jumper on. It's that nice out there. Where is he?
Mid-wicket. I think Pope had possibly gone off. Is it Pope? We're looking for Anderson out there. The results. Here is Robinson. Bowls to Pant, who leans forward and plays towards extra cover, and there's no run. There's so many substitutions in cricket now. Players coming on. They actually need one of those boards they have in football, don't
like
they?
That, yeah.
So Wokes who's just finished a spell.
Yeah.
Just quite often bowlers go off for a little rub down, don't they?
Well, there used to be a time which they stopped. The authorities stopped it from happening. Basically, I remember Dennis Lilly in a series. He would bowl his spell, go off, change his shirt, have a shower, have a rub down, and then come back on for his next spell. So you didn't actually feel very much.
No, exactly.
Just bowled, and then they said in the end, if the time you're off, you can't bowl for.
Which is correct.
Robinson outside the off stump, no stroke from Pant, and it's through to Bairstow.
Yeah, fresh as a daisy. Oh, you look fresh, Dennis. Well, I've just had a nice full body. I've had a nice Swedish massage all over and a nice sauna, and I feel fresh and ready to go against him. Yeah, it's not the point, is it? Cricket is about getting overs in legs and wearing people down, and that's what India have done, haven't it, really? I mean, they've done it well, especially Rohit Sharma early on.
Yeah, they have in this innings. We're in the 128th over, so this is England's basically 5th session in the field. And here goes Robinson to bowl to Pant outside the off stump, and Pant lets it go. It's taken by Bairstow. It's been a far more responsible innings from Rishabh Pant.
Yeah, been impressive.
Yeah, he's played the percentages much better this time round. I mean, it's 37 off, is it 72 or 77? 77 balls, yeah. And what we haven't seen in this innings are those huge wipes and swipes that we've seen so far in the series and so far during Pant's career. And there are sort of parallels. You think someone like MS Dhoni, it's something I've mentioned before, but it's worth bringing up with Dhoni. When he first started in Test cricket, I mean, he was 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Everything must go.
Yeah, everything must go, and it got him into trouble. In the end, he learnt and turned himself into certainly a magnificent one-day player.
Well,
and also an extremely useful Test player as well.
He had one sort of Yahoo, but it was quite a measured Yahoo, wasn't it? Off Moeen, came down the pitch. It wasn't a reckless shot. Good shot, got to the pitch. Oh, I may as well just follow through with that. Nice, 1 bounce 4.
Yeah.
Not those sort of wild things outside off stump.
Anderson bowls, and Tucker drives up towards mid-off, picked up by Moeen, and there's no run. Yeah, there was a great shot, a great screen grab of Pant in the first innings, playing a shot where his head's right up in the air, and his arms are right up in the air as well, halfway down the pitch, and the ball nowhere to be seen.
No. So yeah, he's just he's paced it well, hasn't he?
372 for 6. And Tucker is a strong shot player, good driver. Here's Anderson, they're bowling, that's cut away, find the gap on the offside. This is going out towards the boundary, 2 fielders after it, they'll knock it back inside the rope. They've gone for 2, they're coming back for the 3rd on the throw. Hamid returns right by the bails, but it's a long boundary out there, and so Tucker picks up 3 more.
Lovely shot.
He's moving towards 100 runs in the game.
Lovely.
57 in the first innings.
Yeah, lovely shot.
He's got that freedom to play.
Yeah.
And he had it in the first innings in very different circumstances.
Yeah. This is a lot more measured than the first dig. The first dig was a real Yahoo. And nice, a good aggressive
There
Yahoo.
were some Yahoos in there.
Yeah, but he timed them nicely. But this is actually sort of good, proper cricket shots. He's looked very good.
The lead is 276. Anderson goes in and bowls to Pant. He's happy to get in behind that and play defensively back up the onside of the pitch, and there's no run. Anderson, let's look at his speeds, 81 miles an hour. When I spoke to Jimmy this morning, I said to him about, you played all summer, are you
tired?
Oh, well, I sort of tried to be careful a little bit with Jim. I know Jimmy works with us, but you don't want to. If you just focus the whole time on your 39 and how's the body feeling,
he's going to get grumpy.
Yeah. But what I did say to him is, here is Anderson bowling to Pant, and Pant's in behind that, playing defensively into the offside, and there's no run. Are you, you've played all these back-to-back matches in summer.
I'm learning. Well, you're saying my interviewing method's a little bit blunt.
Well, if I'd asked you that tough as when you were playing,
yes,
you probably would have given me a blunt answer. In fact, probably over time, you probably did give me some blunt answers once or twice.
Yes.
So I just said, are you...
Yeah, so tell me what you should say. What did you say?
Well, you're probably under pressure now, but you still have to couch it and to coax him to say something. But Anderson bowls to Pant outside the off. Tempter, Pant not to be tempted. It was full and wide-ish. Pant elected it to leave it and let it go through to the wicketkeeper. You've played all this back-to-back cricket. Are you confident of being available for Old Trafford? And he said, his answer was not, well, yeah, I'm hoping to play on my own ground, but we'll see how it goes. It was, well, let's get through this Test match first. It was a much more, it was a sort of far more equivocal than I imagined, because he's playing on his home ground, his own end, he's got his own end to bowl from as well. And he's England's leading wicket taker. Here is Anderson bowling, and Pant dead bats that as well into the offside, and there's no run. You just saw, it's sort of reading between the lines that there might be a resting situation coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the last Test of the summer, and
might have to be all or nothing.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, isn't it? That what do you do? There's a few. I mean, way back when, bowlers used to bowl so many overs in the summer. Fred Trim's bowled 1,000 overs in the summer and all that, no trouble at all. But I suppose it's the sort of high-profile intensity of it now, with all the international cricket back to back. There's only a 3-day gap between this game and the next one. There wasn't a huge gap between the last one and this one.
Who tells you that? I mean, when does it
well, they have this thing called the red zone, don't they?
Yes, I was just going to say that. When does the needle drop into the empty in the car? Who makes that decision? Because you're never going to make that decision as a player.
No, because you want to play for England, don't you?
You're bowling at your own end.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on, Jimmy. I think you have to play him. I think, don't you? Yeah.
Well, it'll benefit England the fact that they won't have to bowl tomorrow, so there'll be 4 days between bowling here and bowling at Old Trafford, a minimum of 4, because England could bat first, and then it might even turn into 5.5.
You're not going to leave out James Anderson for a test match that you need to win, are you?
Well, that's the question the selection panel will have to decide upon, really.
Oh, well, there you go.
If he's got...
I should be on the selection panel then, because that's the no-brainer.
I've often thought you'd make a very good share of selectors.
There you go. Well, there you go. It's quite tricky. We tried doing it on Tuffers and Vaughan, lots of paper everywhere. Pens.
Gin and tonic.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He just used to have in the 1980s. They just had a little donkey, and you had to try and pin the tail on the player's name.
Lot more easy. And usually too many names, and you forget one, don't you? And you go, how can I not pick him?
Or I haven't got a wicket keeper. That looked a good side until I didn't have a wicket keeper. Robinson bowls. Tacker plays defensively to short extra cover, and there's no run. There's a long delay there between overs. 375 for 6. The lead 276.
As this bowling unit looked a bit
samey.
Yeah, a bit one-paced.
I think Mark Wood will come back at Old Trafford if he's fit.
You would have thought so.
And he's struggling to throw. That was the word, isn't he? But he's fit to bowl, but struggling to wing it in from the boundary. Is Tacker on 36 on strike?
Can I open that window a minute?
Please do. It's warm, isn't it?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, Robinson rolls in to bowl to Tacker. He comes across his stumps and clips that towards mid-wicket. And it's picked up by Pope, and there's no run. So England have got a short mid-wicket and a short extra cover for Tacker, who likes that big drive. And Rory Burns chatting to Bairstow. The only slip. Where's Root out there now then? So Root's come out of the slip cordon. He's mid-off, having a chat with his bowler. Chance to not exactly graze in the outfield, but there's a lot of concentration to stand at slip for 5 sessions.
Not
switch on and off.
Think about fields, bowling changes, all sorts.
Robinson bowls short, and Tacker tries to drag that into the onside. He might have been better off playing the dab shot or the cut shot to that ball, or the uppercut. In the end, it was very inelegant. Hit it hard into the surface, and it went bouncing out towards mid-wicket. And there is no run. Cloudless sky now. We've had. It feels like there's been a sort of spaceship over London for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
That cloud is lifted for. It's a bit like the January sales for a few days only.
Yep. They're just round the corner.
Robinson bowls and Tacker plays that defensively back up the offside of the pitch. There's no sense here that India are looking to really press the accelerator. They are just playing the percentage strokes, the odd bad ball being put away, and the odd strong shot. But it's about building as a bigger lead as they possibly can, obviously here. But there's no question of sort of getting reckless. It's calculated cricket.
Pants scored just 1 from his last 16 balls after hitting Wokes for 4 in Wokes' last over.
It's almost they're saying, bat till half an hour after tea, and then we'll see where we are. If they are there, they'll be a long way ahead. Robinson bowls. Tacker drives up towards mid-off, no run.
Be out of sight. Out of sight. But they'll be out of sight by then, that's for sure.
3 wickets to go today, including Kohli, who was caught by Overton off Moeen for 44, and Wokes had Jadeja and Rahane LBW, and the score was 296. So at one stage it was 312 for 6. India's lead was 213. It felt like England were right back in the game, but these two have taken it away from them. Robinson trying to do something about it, but a short ball, and that's a horrible swatting stroke from Taka. Hits it again hard into the surface, and it bobbles out towards mid-wicket where it's picked up by Pope, and there is no run. 375 for 6 at the end of the over. There didn't seem to be that many runs off that over.
There were 0 runs off that over, Simon. Robinson's second consecutive maiden since coming back on.
That was my impression. It was a short ball that seemed to follow him a bit. Is it? Slow ball bounce. Right.
Slow ball bounce. I don't mind that. Didn't play it very well, didn't he? But I think he did in the first innings. Didn't he play some good hooks and pulls?
There was one he hoofed into the stand away to our left-hand side from a short ball over deep back of square. It went way back. You know, had a fielder down there. He was looking up into the sky and watching it go sailing out towards the scoreboard. What's that stand out there called? They are just blocks now, but is that the Peter May side of the ground there? Because there are no signs up.
No.
The stand names are anonymous, but I think there are names designated to the various stands here. One or two we can see. The Ricky Stewart Members Pavilion at the far end, and the MAR Galadari stand. He played for Surrey in the 1920s.
No, we didn't.
Or had a lot of money. One of the two.
Let's go with option B on that one, shall we?
Yeah. I think so. Anderson into bowl to Pant, wide of off stump. Pant ignores it and allows it to go through to Johnny Bairstow. India, with their 2 attacking players out there, not going for that option, looking to grind England down, grind as many runs as they possibly can with the still considerable amount of time left in the game. You know, they're boosted by the weather forecast as well, which says we will be unhindered between now and the end of the match. We might even escape some bad light at 10-7 today. Play can go on until 10-7. Anderson bowls, and Punt comes forward and plays that towards short extra cover, and there's no run.
It's funny how pitches sometimes go through periods, isn't it? It just did a bit this morning, didn't it? And everyone was feeling a little bit like, and now it's just completely gone to sleep.
Or is it because
the bowler's
fresh, and they got the sun on their backs, their muscles are nice and loose, and they've got a newish ball in hand, and you go for it and you just put that extra bit in.
But there does come a time when the pitch sort of like it holds together, and it just goes, I can't hold it anymore.
Anderson bowls edged, but on the bounce to second slip where it's stopped by Burns.
Yeah, and it just sort of goes, okay, you can bowl spin now.
Well, and that's the worry, I suppose, for England tomorrow, is that it just offers a bit more.
Yeah. But this has become flat again, hasn't it? A bit like yesterday. Pretty gun barrel straight. Batsman just easily sort of just plopping onto the front foot and defending.
Anderson outside the off stump, nothing from Punt. Through to Bairstow. We're coming to the end of the first hour after lunch, and it's been India's hour. They went to lunch at 3:29 for 6, now 3:75 for 6. Well, it's been an intriguing series, and India have fought hard throughout it. They had the blow of getting blown away at Headingley, and they were 127 for 7 on the first day here, but they have fought back. Anderson outside the off stump again, nothing from Pant. Similar delivery to the ball before.
Who are we giving Trent Bridge to?
Well, I mean, we will never know, but I mean, in India, I think.
Yes, yeah, I do as well. What do they need?
159 was it? With 9 wickets left. Yeah, it felt like they had a measure of control over the game.
Yeah, it would have been something special, wouldn't it? 6 for 30 or something from one of them.
Anderson bowls full this time. Pant drives to mid-off. They set off for a single, then go back quickly to root. And so no single taken, and that's the end of the over. That felt like another over without too many runs off it.
It was indeed another maiden, the third maiden in the last 4 overs. Pant's now played 16 dot balls since his last run, and just 1 run in his last 22.
Right, the drinks are coming onto the field, and there's the first time in this match the players will be in desperate need of them as well on this very warm afternoon at the Oval, and it's apparently going to get warmer in the next few days in the southeast, which is great news. for tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what the ticket situation is tomorrow. Presumably some have been sold already, and there might be some available. We'll try and find out that if you want to come along tomorrow. We don't know yet. Most sold.
Yes, I heard from John Surtees of Surrey yesterday. Said there were, I think, very few left for tomorrow.
Right, okay, well, better go on the website and have a look if you want to come on, which is great news. And there's a prospect of a really interesting final day. We've got a double change here. Drinks are on the field. Deep Dasgupta is here, and Jonathan Agnew is moving in. Well, it's going India's way post-lunch, Deep.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Yeah, it is. It was such an important first hour, because India at that point in time, 230, and I still think 260 to 70 on this wonderful batting surface. The conditions are so conducive for batting. 260 to 70 is still very chaseable. So while India has done well, but I don't think they're out of the woods as yet, or something that they'd be extremely comfortable with. Would need that 300 lead, I guess, to feel more comfortable, more at ease. Because last couple of days, and it's not that the pitch is misbehaving either. I mean, pitch has been absolutely brilliant. No variable bounce, nothing that would kind of ring those alarm bells.
Well, I think Pant's auditioning to open the batting, isn't he? Never seen him play like this. Yeah. Really getting his head down. Just an interesting graphic where you can see on the Hawkeye how much later he's playing the ball today. Really sort of bringing everything in, if you like, whereas previously he can be out there in front of himself and looking to play attacking shots. But today, very defensive, very responsible.
Yeah, very mature as well. This is how he batted in Australia. Those couple of innings that he scored big and made sure India won the Test series. He's very, very matured and responsible, as you mentioned. And he hasn't. And the frustrating part is he's got this game in him, where he doesn't really have to go out and kind of play those unorthodox shots.
Just the balance, isn't it? The balance of being able to... Well, he's got a great reputation, which is no bad thing, of being able to tear you apart. But he has, at the moment, been inclined to give the bowler a bit too much of a chance. He's playing really well today. Excellent defensive technique. And these two certainly taking the game away from England as they build on this lead. So lots of cricket left today. And they're having a drink at the moment on the... I was going to say sunny skies. It is very sunny. It's a little bit hazy. But we're not complaining about that. It's a beautiful day. Everyone here, 30,000 or so, thoroughly enjoying themselves, I'm sure. I'm wondering how much longer India will bat on for, because that's another interesting part of this equation as far as Kohli's concerned. I mean, 276 lead doesn't feel at the moment like something you'd want to declare on.
True.
There's a lot of time left, and yet you don't want to leave it too long, because you've got a great position to win the game, and then you've got to have enough time to bowl England out. So it's going to be quite a juggling act, I think.
Yeah, I think that thought might come to his head around tea if India's still there batting. Another hour to go. Another hour would mean another 30-40 runs, and if actually India is thinking of declaring somewhere around that tea or post tea, maybe asking Shardul and Pant to play a little more freely, get another 60 odd runs in the next maybe 15 odd overs or 15-17 overs, because 90 plus overs tomorrow, and another, let's say, 15 overs today or 10 overs today would be, I think, 110 odd overs. I mean, if you can't get a team out 110, then too bad. I mean, you can't expect more.
Yeah, sometimes you're better off being bowled out.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't have to take that
no, and because you've usually got enough. But captains do tend to be cautious, and you can't blame them. They don't want to get it wrong, but often bowled out. It turns out that's your best way to win the game. So it's 375 for 6 now. The lead is 276. We've got Robinson labouring in from the far end, and that first ball is turned away by the right-handed Thakur out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Now I wonder who's back on the field, because there were substitutes all over the place a moment ago. There were certainly 2. But, I think that's Overton back on the field there. Pope was off for a moment. I know he went sprinting off.
He's back on the field again. Mark Woods doing his delivery service again on the boundary. 375 for 6. Thakur is right-handed, and he waits for Robinson, who bowls short to him. He chops that away. It's fielded down to our right at third man by Pope, actually.
Wokes is back on.
Wokes back on, okay. So we've got a full complement. I saw Lawrence was on. And I saw Billings was on a moment ago as well. So I think it's back to the starting 11. Wood has delivered whatever it was he had to take round there. I think he's going to go and sign an autograph or something. No, it's a photograph. There we go. Can't sign autographs at the moment, of course. Yeah. Players have to keep away from spectators and certainly keep away from us, of course. So all part of the biosecurity, which, as we know, we haven't had any more for the Indian camp yet, have we? But it's claimed most of the coaching staff today. In comes Robinson, bowls the left-handed punch and moves across in front of his stumps. There's uncertainty, there's going to be run out. Oh, Moeen's throw misses, and then Hamid can't pick it up. What a shambles. Punch should have been run out by the length of the pitch. And Moeen came in there to throw at mid-wicket. Unfortunately for Moeen, there was nobody at the stumps, but the punt was so far away. I'm just thinking, without having seen a replay, but I think Moeen would have been better off just running to the stumps with the ball, because punt was miles away. Now, if Moeen had just kept running, he'd have run him out, but he hurled the ball at the stumps. There's nobody there. Hamid couldn't pick it up cleanly. Bairstow's saying, give it to me, there's still no punt in the frame. No, I'm afraid Moeen got that wrong.
Yeah.
It's easy in slow motion, but if Moeen had simply run to the stumps, he'd have run him out.
Absolutely, because Rishabh wasn't stopping, was he? When Moeen had the ball in his hand, Rishabh wasn't even stopping, trying to get back. Yeah, he could have easily run himself with the ball. But then even if Hamid had collected it first go, that would have been...
He could have run him out.
Yeah, he could have done that as well.
Absolutely at the wrong end. He had gone. Robinson moves in, bowls, and punters forward. Now he sets off again and gets in. Thakur was a little bit reluctant to run there. They've got to have a bit of a conversation, I think. So that was just pushed to mid-off. There's a big gap. 377 for 6, so a bad run-out miss. And punt escaped on 37. Yeah, I'm looking at it again. I mean, Moeen, it is hard. You're looking at all these different things at once. But play a lot of one-day cricket and a lot of high-pressure T20 cricket. Kohli's having a good laugh at it. I can see on the replay there. Everyone's done it, but that's what went wrong there. In comes Robinson again. Bowls, slower ball, Thakur drives to mid-off.
Yeah, we've been talking about Rishabh, but Shardul Thakur again. I mean, he's batting on 37, he's looking good. And again, reminding everyone why he's been picked. Not just about bowling, about contributing with the bat as well. He did so fabulously well in the first innings, and now in the second as well. Now that again will make the Indian team management think about changing the team at all, if they would want to.
No, he's a proper player, isn't he? Robinson again, there's still a slip, and he bowls short. He's got hold of this one, pulled it out for deep square leg. And Overton throws that back from the boundary. Just one run. 378 for 6, and well, obviously trying to take wickets, so they're also trying to make India score as slowly as possible here, because England are aware of that calculation that Kohli might well have to make about the declaration. So at the moment, it's not a huge target. I mean, it's a very, very, very challenging target, but with so much time available, if England were to bat, from now until the close tomorrow, if they were to bat, they'll win the game. So it's still within the realms of that. This poor run-out's going to be replayed and replayed and replayed, I'm afraid. It'll be a question of sport. What happened next?
How many mistakes were there in that ball?
A lot.
Because there seemed to be about 3 mistakes by the batting pair.
Yep.
Moeen could have thrown it to Bairstow. Little gentle lob to the pitch.
Bairstow wasn't there, was he? He was standing back.
He had enough time to just lob it in.
And Moeen had to go to the stumps. He only had 10 yards to run.
Something cricket could learn from baseball.
Yeah.
Anderson runs up bowls, and Thakur's squared up and defends. Root fields.
So in baseball, you see the fielders No, it's a bit different, and it's more part of the game. The fielders know sort of balance themselves and sort of work out how much time they've got. And, there's a real art to the fielding in baseball. Cricket, you often see players hurrying and slightly panicking. Deep, you've obviously done some coaching. Is that something that you can sort of train players to do?
So there are actually drills like that where you throw to the keeper even if the keeper's not behind the stumps.
Anderson runs up, bowls short. Oh, he's hit that away. What a tremendous shot that is. Flicked off the hip. And the ball's flown out to the boundary at deep square leg for another boundary to Thakur, who goes to 42 now. That really was a beautifully timed stroke.
Yeah, and a very Shardul Thakur kind of a shot. Yes, it was flicked, but with a horizontal bat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, this is a kind of shot that he plays very often. And now that field is pushed in the boundary as well, so there's singles opening up. Looking really comfortable here. Shardul Thakur has done so well with the bat.
And goes Anderson to go and try again. Over the wicket he goes. Bowls. Thakur this time defends. And it's fielded in the covers.
Yeah, Shardul's got a 6 sixes in an over actually in school cricket though. The Palghar Express.
Right. The what express?
The Palghar. That's where he comes from.
Right. Where's that?
It's 100 kilometers from Mumbai.
Right.
And he has the same coach as Rohit, the same coach, Dinesh Lad, whose son actually plays cricket as well for Mumbai, and he was with KKR last season, the season before, Siddesh Lad. And he actually grew up living with Dinesh Lad at his place in Mumbai because obviously, traveling 2 hours up and down, 4 hours a day wasn't that easy.
Anderson bowls and he leans back, runs the ball away to square third man. And Hamid is down there. Another one to India. The lead goes to 284. Yes, you don't just jump in your car and travel 100 kilometres in and out of Mumbai, do you?
No, you don't. Yeah, you're talking about local trains and local buses. Have you ever been on a local train in Mumbai?
Not in Mumbai. I have on the other side of India.
Okay. It seems Andy has.
I have, yes. I was with some Indian friends. They wouldn't let me go during rush hour. I thought it was a nice train, but could have done with some doors, I thought.
So the thing is, you haven't been on a train during the rush hours. So during rush hours, you don't do much. You're part of the crowd. The crowd takes you inside the train and then pushes you out as well. Just have to place yourself strategically when your station comes.
When you push your way out.
You don't have to. People behind you will push you out.
It is a great sight, sitting on the roofs and so on of the carriages.
That single was Thakur's 100th run of the match.
Punt on strike. It's a spread field now, but there is still a slip. As Anderson runs in round the wicket and he bowls a reverse sweep with a peel flag before wicket. Given not out. There are no reviews. The ball runs away into the leg side. They don't take a run actually. Punt, well, they could easily have taken a run. Punt, I think, a bit distracted by the appeal. And Thakur was saying, why didn't we run for that?
Played a reverse?
That's all very strange.
That's the first so-called unorthodox shot that he tried this inning so far, a reverse sweep. That was out.
Well, I think it might out. See where the impact was. One thing is, it all gets such a tangle when batsmen reverse sweep and get hit. Everything changes round, isn't it? And you sort of think, what's where? And don't literally change round. Outside is off stump, but still outside off stump, and so on. This gives a very different picture. In goes Anderson again, bowls, and that bounces a little. That Punt plays it very neatly.
But I think the rule says for a switch hit, things change, not for reverse. So if you change your grip from left-hander to a right-hander, that becomes a switch hit.
Impact in line. Wickets, umpire's call. Shaving the bails. But certainly if you look at that graphic, there's a lot of the ball hitting the bails. But given not out, and England haven't got any reviews left.
Son Thakur's 100-run match, batting at number 8 or lower since Anil Kumble made a century here against England in 2007. He's only the 4th player to make 100 runs in a test against England, batting in the bottom 4. But Darren Sammy, Bhuvneshwar Kumar with 2 half-centuries at Nottingham in 2014, and Ashton Agar when he made that unforgettable 98 at 11, followed by 14 in the second innings.
He was never a number 11, was he?
He wasn't, no. And now we're sort of back to sort of 5 or 6
Exactly.
in state cricket.
They didn't seem to know him, did they? They thought, well, we can bat 11. Robinson's on his way, bowls a slower ball, a mighty heave. Where's that gone? It looked like a 6. It is a 6. And he went into the pavilion, or at least in that direction. Just stood there, swung about at it. And Robertson, who sometimes has some things to say, has quite wisely just turned around and walked back to his mark. Slower ball, Thakur saw it, bang.
Amazing shot. Hit one in the first innings as well, down the ground, long on. But what a shot, middle of the bat.
So on 49, Robinson's on his way, and he bowls to him. It's hit him on the pad. The ball runs away into the leg side. Maybe a leg by this. I think it is going to be a leg by, so he'll still be on 49. But the lead goes up by 1. So 390 for 6. The lead 292. It's not often that punt is upstaged. But Thakur, his choice of shots and the way he's played them, I have to say, he's playing the lead role here.
And he's turning out to be a really good all-rounder. You can call him a bowling all-rounder, but he's done really well with the limited opportunities got with the bat, or in test match cricket for that matter, in Australia, now here. Very, very crucial and useful runs.
291 is the lead, and Robinson's going to come round the wicket to punt. So deep square leg, fine leg. Is there a third man? I can't see, there's a satellite dish there. No, there isn't. There's a deep point. And in comes Robinson, moves in now and bowls, and Punt gets a little bit of something on this. It runs for 4. Either bat or pad. Yeah, it's been given as runs. Little edge, ball almost deflecting into his wickets.
Yeah, that was lazy from Rishabh Pant. I think initially he wanted to let that one go, and then last moment decided to get some bat on it. Thick inside edge, extremely close to that stump as well. Wouldn't have carried to Bairstow.
You're right, he was leaving that, wasn't he? And then suddenly brought the bat into play. Doesn't matter, it's all runs for India now. Robinson again. Runs in rather wearily, and Punt comes forward, wants to steal a single. Thakur's slow setting off, he should have learnt by now. That Punt's made his ground, and so too has Thakur. A well taken single, 395 for 6. So India's lead is 296. There's still 54 overs remaining today, although he won't get all of those, I don't suppose. And then a full day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's about now then that I think Virat would start thinking about it. Slowly reaching that 300-run lead, that mark.
Robinson wheels round, got 2 balls left in this over. Moves in bowls to Thakur, it's short, he swings that into the leg side. There's his half-century, and really well played. He's really shone in this partnership with Punt. He's showing his bat to the dressing room. He scored a violent half-century in the first innings. This one more sedate, but very important in the context of the match. This partnership really is putting this game beyond England now. 65 balls, 5 fours and a 6.
Yeah, 2 half-centuries in this match now, and very, very different, as you mentioned. A lot more attacking the first innings, and here more orthodox, watchful. That just tells you about the maturity as well. Understanding where the game stands, what he needs to do, game awareness. It's really good.
Robinson bowls, Punt just defends, plays the ball back to the bowler, and that ends the over. So there's still, 40 minutes to go until tea on this 4th day. It's 396 for 6, so India lead now by 297, very much their day. Andy, some thoughts from you and from Deep, and then Dan Norcross coming in here.
Well, it's Thakur's 3rd Test 50, 2nd of this game. He had one against Australia, superb innings of 67 in the decisive Brisbane Test early this year. So 3 half-centuries in his last 3 Test matches. He's only had 9 in total in first-class cricket. He had 6 in his first 62 matches before this year, and he's become the 9th player in Test history to make 2 half-centuries batting at number 8 or lower in the same game. The most recent 2, both Indians, Wriddhiman Saha, the wicketkeeper, 2 undefeated half-centuries against New Zealand and Kolkata in 2016.
Anderson starts a new over to Tucker, who drives very nicely indeed up to the long off boundary. That was a sumptuous shot. It was full, yes. It was a longish half volley, but Tucker has found that gap between what is a straight mid-off and the bowler and hit it right along the ground. And the wheels have well and truly come off England here. The 400 is up. 400 for 6. The partnership grows. It's punishing for England's bowlers out there.
The partnership now 88 from 23.1 overs, of which Thakur has now scored 54. I'll come back to this list shortly.
There is a very wide slip in and there's a short extra cover. As Anderson is in, Thakur just pushes that to the square of the wicket on the offside, and the wonderful Hasib Hamid, I'm going to talk about him in a moment, comes in off the boundary, throws in, they pick up a single. 401 for 6.
The other players who've scored 2 half-centuries in game batting at 8 or lower, Wriddhiman Saha, Bhuvneshwar Kumar in that test in Nottingham in 2014, played a very flat batting pitch, and he also made a fine half-century at Lords. Peter Siddle against India in Delhi in 2013, Harbhajan Singh against New Zealand in Ahmedabad when he made his second innings century, as well as a first innings half-century in 2010. Guy Whittle of Zimbabwe, 1999 against South Africa. Alan Knott on this ground in the 1972 Ashes test.
Anderson is round the wicket to punt. He thrashes at this. He gets it through the offside for 4. Through the covers, he came advancing. There's that trademark punt shot where he comes running at the ball. It's had a little bit of width, and he reached for it and slapped it through the covers. Wonderfully. 405 for 6.
I'll just finish this list quickly. The previous one before that, 37 years before, also on this ground, E.L. Dalton of South Africa. And Buster Newpen of South Africa against England in Durban in 1928. There's a good
Buster
name.
Newpen, I always like Buster Newpen. Yeah. Now,
born in Norway?
I think that's right. Yeah. Now, where is Hasib Hamid? Because I'm on Hasib Hamid watch, because I'm really enjoying how he's keeping himself going out here today. As Anderson is into punt to defend solidly into the offside. There's no run. Punt onto 47 with that boundary. 405 for 6. I've been watching him intently. And you know, it's a long day in the field, quite warm. It's quite difficult to keep your spirits up. Just occasionally, Hasib Hamid will do something really strange. He'll just suddenly start to do a kind of like panther stealth move.
Really?
Yeah, you just have a little look at him every now and then he'll do a little bit of a semi-dance, and he'll just like shift his shoulders from one side to the other as Anderson is into punt, full driven, but straight to short extra where Robinson is fielding. And he's just keeping himself going. He's keeping his concentration going. And he was part of the hideous mistake for punt survival from the run out. I mean, I don't know how many different ways that could have been out. The one way it couldn't have been out was the way it transpired. I mean, Moeen could almost have run to the stumps. He could have gently lobbed the ball to Bairstow. He could have lobbed the ball to Hasib Hamid. There are any number of ways as Anderson is in, and punt lets this go by outside the off stump, and there's no run. But amidst all of that, end of the over, 405 for 6, Tucker 55, punt 47, was Hasib Hamid. And he just, every now and then, when he's in the infield, for example, he just decides
the panther walk.
To do the panther walk. Yeah, just to keep himself going. And then he'll sort of fling his arms from one side to the other, and he'll look intently at the ground. He's a very characterful fielder. I like that in some because you know I don't like fielding. I can understand fielding for long periods of time must be very difficult, especially when you're up against it. You can't see where a wicket's coming from. Yeah. And it's a kind of way of keeping yourself in the game, isn't it?
True. I mean, you always have these guys in the team, right? Characters in the team. Days like these, you want their character to come for.
Robinson starts a new over, and Tucker pushes square of the wicket in the offside. There's a big gap there, and Burns has to move to his right from slip to field. They get the single, 406 for 6.
Yeah, and you'd rather have conversations or something. I mean, something to keep you going right through the day. I mean, this has been a really long innings for the English fielders. It's what, 135, the 136th over. and most part of those 135 overs hasn't been kind of in England's favour.
No, I mean really from the very beginning of the innings. Robinson is around the wicket to Rishabh Pant, who push drives up to mid-on. There's no run. So now Hasib is at backward point, and he's swinging his arms. Let's have a little look now. So he's now looking at the ground a bit. He might do his little stealth move now, actually, just adjusting his cap. He's been a bit more subdued since the missed run out, because I think he feels partially responsible for it, but he shouldn't really, because the throw was vicious and low, and then he sort of fumbled with it. I mean, it shouldn't have happened that way in the first place.
You can feel why he would feel that way, disappointed.
Robinson in, Punt pushes into the offside off the front foot. It's fielded at short extra. There's no run.
Because he had, if he had actually picked it up,
it would have been out.
It would have been out even then. So one of the ways you were mentioning would be Hamid collecting it cleanly.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Yes, it went wrong in a spectacular fashion. On this glorious day. Now Hamid's swinging his arms back and forth. There we go, look. As Robinson is in, around the wicket, cut, slashed away, backward point. Punts are on the first quickly, but I don't think they'll come back for a second. They won't. Overton flings it right over the top of the stumps. One more, and now Hamid moves out to mid-wicket. He's not swinging his arms right yet.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in a first-class side while we were playing for Bengal, a couple of us would, on days like these, would just start talking about random things.
Yeah.
Nothing about cricket.
Robinson in, and Tucker just defends back on the wicket. There's no run. England have not brought Moeen Ali back on. He went for a few runs straight after lunch. I understand that, but this isn't working either. These right-arm seam bowlers who are tired. I mean, Robinson's now about to finish his 32nd over. Did I just see Joe Root warming up? That's all Joe Root warming up, which indicates he'd like a little bit of spin.
Mid-off.
Yeah, but he's not going to go to Moeen, who went past Jim Laker today. He's a leading spinner, one of the leading spinners. Glorious straight drive, fabulous shot from Tucker, full on off stump, wondrous, firm, perfectly timed, and the indignity for Robinson as the number 8 thrashes the ball straight past his left boot. Tucker moves to 60 now, and India are 411 for 6 at the end of the over. England have got to try and come up with something, or else they're just destined to be out there until India decide when they want to pull the plug. The lead is now 312. India are not going to give England a sniff. True. By the same token, they do want overs to bowl England out.
Since the missed run-out chances, if you can count, I think 3 or 4 chances on the same ball. So we'll call them the 4 missed chances to run out Rishabh Pant off one ball. India have scored 33 in 4.5 overs. They've scored just 5 in the 5 overs before the run-out chance.
Interesting. So Root is in the attack.
No, so that chance would go down as 4?
In my book, yes.
Yes, I think, strictly speaking, it's the 1, but yeah. So Joe Root is bringing himself on to bowl from the Vauxhall end, and I wonder what Punt will decide to do. Long on and long off have unsurprisingly gone back. There's a sort of shortish extra cover. Rory Burns, backward point, Jimmy Anderson. Hasib Hamid is now lolloping onto the other side, onto the onside. He was in the cover ring. He's now placed at mid-wicket. There's a square leg and a deep mid-wicket. 411 for 6. Punt on 48 on the threshold of his own half-century. Root into him. He's got to slip him. And Punt edges to backward point where Anderson is stationed. They don't get a run. He's reaching for that a little. There is a bit of foot marks outside the left-hander's off stump.
I was actually looking for a single in that point region. It's open the face of the bat. As you mentioned, try to reach out as well.
It's a bit of pop off the surface there for Root. Here he is again, and that's wide of the off stump, but Punt doesn't go after it, but almost falls over. But keeps his back foot just behind the crease. Remains safe. Here's Root again. Around the wicket. And down the wicket comes Punt and finds the gap on the offside. Picks up a single. Moeen comes airing in from the extra cover boundary. If he'd head in slightly less quickly, they might have had still a chance for a run out, because that seems to be the only way that England are going to get a wicket. And with that run, Andy Zaltzman.
The 100 partnership in just 25 and a half overs, so fractionally under 4 runs and over. The lead is now 313. So they were effectively 213 for 6 when they came together, and the game was very much in the balance.
Well, I think this partnership may have battered England out of the match. Root into Thakur, who drives firmly to Hasib Hamid, short extra, who falls over in stopping the ball two-handed away to his right. Long on, but mid-off up. Root into Thakur, who drives edges, is gone. Caught and slip. Root breaks the partnership, he brings himself on and he picks up the wicket. Thakur goes for 60, driving in a ball outside of the off stump. Neatly taken, that slip by Overton. And India 412 for 7. The partnership finally broken, but has the partnership already battered England out of the match? We shall see. Nonetheless, good captaincy from Root to bring himself on and pick up the wicket straight away. Maybe should have done it a little earlier.
Yeah, it should have maybe. But what a knock again. Very, very useful 60 from Shardul Thakur. As you mentioned, this partnership could end up being match-defining as well, and match-defining knock both in the first and the second from Shardul Thakur. He's been so impressive with the bat. Every time he comes out to bat, every innings, he just looks so good. Now that's going to make that Indian team management think very, very seriously how they want to go about in the future with someone like Shardul Thakur, because that's where India struggled just a bit in terms of seam bowling all-rounder.
Well, what he's done for India is a little bit like what Sam Curran did for England 3 years ago.
Correct. That's right.
Balanced that batting, made sure that tail wasn't so long, contributed a bit with the ball. And with the bat, Sam Curran hasn't quite managed that in this series, but Thakur has done that for India.
Absolutely.
This one. 412 for 7, Andy. Do you want to give us the tale of Shardul Thakur's take?
Fantastic innings of 60 from 72 balls with a 6 and 7 fours to go with his 57 from 36 in the match. So 117 runs in the match from just 108 deliveries.
Wow.
Batting at number 8, as I just mentioned recently, only the 9th player in Test history to make 2 half-centuries batting at number 8 or lower.
Has he done that faster than any of the others who've done it previously?
I would guess so, but I don't think Buster Newton's balls faced details from 1928 are available.
All right, notwithstanding Buster Newton. Root's made the breakthrough. Deep Dasgupta's left us. Ebony Rainford Brent has joined us, and Umesh Yadav finally arrives at the crease. First wicket to have fallen in this session. It's come from the unlikely source of the captain, perhaps. So Umesh faces up to his first ball. He reaches for a wide one, pushes it into the offside, and Hasib Hamid fields. End of a successful over. Root has a wicket. He has the wicket of Thakur, and I wonder what Punt will do now, Ebony Rainford Brent. Does he trust Umesh, or do you think he's going to get his 50 and then unleash?
Yeah, I think he's got to keep being positive. The one thing I would say, and I know that everyone thinks, pressure on the final day will be bowled out, no problem. I definitely think the wicket's still flat enough that you want to give yourself enough time. And so if he can get a nice healthy lead, and then that gives Virat Kohli options for when he wants to either declare or they get bowled out, but at least it gives you more options.
Look at this, spin at both ends. Moeen's coming in from the pavilion end. Do you like this move? I suppose it's going to force Punt's hand slightly, and Root can put fielders back, because he'll want predominantly to be bowling at Umesh Yadav. And India, as you say, they're not in a situation here where they want to go at 2.5 and over, because they want to keep things moving so they can
have options to decide when they feel they've got enough time.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the seamers are knackered. I feel for them, Dan. It's been a long...
They're exhausted, aren't they? You can see. It's been a long series, and it's tightly compact. It's not been long, actually. It's been short, but the matches have come thick and fast. Moeen in to Punt from around the wicket, tossed up, driven into the gap on the offside. He's very happy to take the single, brings up his half-century. A fine knock from Rishabh Punt. Massive contrast to his first innings, where he really looked skittish, frenetic, threw his wicket away, much to the infuriation of Indian fans the world over, but in this innings he has brought his game head on at precisely the right moment. Just as his side were in a spot of bother, he's played a proper knock batting at number 7 to get his side right back on top. So Umesh Yadav's going to face. Long on is still back, which intrigues me for the new batter. I wonder. Mid-off, backward point, sweeper on the cover boundary, slip forward short leg mid-wicket. Moeen in, tossed up, driven up to long on. It was more of a hacking swipe really than a drive, but he'll get a single, and that's sort of what I mean, Ebony. Why not keep
the pressure on? I understand actually leaving a cow out for a bit of a hoik, but actually you want to force him to think about how am I going to get off strike, or take a risk to get off strike.
Moeen into the left-handed punt, who drives straight back at Moeen, is gone. Corn bowled, a really good sharp grab from Moeen Ali. He picks up another wicket. Punt, I think, has got to go, but for some reason he's still there, and he's now going to make his slow, weary trudge off.
I thought he almost hit himself there. He held the bat up seriously above his head and then nearly wiped himself out.
Well, I think he's walking off. This is rather confusing. The entire England team have gathered together, and Rishabh Pant has not yet made it to the end of the cut strips, and is just going. So he's furious with himself. Actually, he's really angry. He's removed a glove. I think it's just immense disappointment and fury with himself, and he can't
like
believe what he's done.
In a supermarket, you're like, "Come on, let's get out the shop," and they're walking past the sweets or something. He's just dragging his feet. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because he settled himself for the 50, and I think he thought, right now I've got the 50, I can press gear number 2, and he never even got out to be able to really get into it. And look, I've got to give him credit the way he played, because he went against his nature just to try and give the team the chance. I think he was just open to really then turn the screw.
Well, he might have actually perversely done his team a bit of good here, because it's going to give potentially India more time to bowl England down, which they could very well need. On the other hand, England fans will now feel a bit of a sniff. 315. We saw the West Indies chase down 330 at Headingley only a few years ago with Shea Hope on a similarly flat deck. You never know.
Yeah. Well, look, what it has done is left the game exciting, because I think prior to this I was just thinking, right, if they keep going, add another, get to 350 comfortably, it's game over.
Yep.
Those 2 quick successions of wickets just... Yeah, it has bubbled it up.
Well, spin and bringing the slow bowling in has just changed the tempo, hasn't it? It was sort of relentless right arm, medium fast. I should describe more fulsomely the catch by Moeen, actually, because it was a very firmly struck shot from Punt. Bumrah is facing up to his first ball. He leans forward and defends into the onside on the front foot. It was hit back very firmly, and Moeen had to be quick to his right, took it two-handed. So it's a good catch from Moeen, who's now got figures of 2 for 100 from 22.4 overs. Strange. He's into Bumrah. Bumrah reaches again for this outside the off stump, plays back to the bowler. There's no run. 414 for 8. I got rather confused. I wondered if he thought it was a bump ball, because he took forever to leave the ground, or the field of play, I should say. Moeen into Bumrah, who defends again on the front foot. What's Bumrah's plan here, I wonder? Ebony, you can ruminate on that after Andy Zaltzman's brought us up to date with Punt's innings, and then it will be Simon Mann.
Punt's 50 from 106 balls when he was out with just 4 fours. Reached his 50 from his 105th ball. It's his 10th 50-plus score in tests. 3 of those he's converted into hundreds, and the longest he's taken in terms of balls faced to reach 50 in his career. So that stand of 100 has been followed by 2 wickets for 2 runs in the space of 4 balls. And you've had partnerships of 1, 0 and 2 in this innings, but still scored 414 for 8 so far.
Simon, what do you think of the WinViz on the draw?
I was just going to mention it, Ebbs.
After you completely wiped me out, and last time I looked, it was at 30%.
But no, it's not the draw now. Not after those 2 quick wickets.
No.
You were right in for a moment there. Here is Root bowling outside the off stump, and a bit of a swipe into the offside from Umesh. Goes to extra cover, and there's no run. If that partnership had gone on for another hour,
then draws.
Then obviously there's the possibility, because England would only be faced with the prospect of batting out for 1 hour, I thought. Here is Root bowling, and Umesh swipes that up to deepish mid-off, shy at the stumps, a hit from England, but only when the batters pass the stumps. They don't hit when the batter's short of the line. 4:15 for 8, Umesh to 2. Bumrah yet to score. What they do have to do now, of course, England, is just wipe these last two wickets out as quickly as possible, and then there's 3:16 the lead, and India will feel, well, we just like the security of another 20 or 30 here if we possibly can, push it up to 350. Root bowls to Bumrah, and Bumrah guides it away into the offside towards extra cover, and there's no run. There are two men on the leg side boundary for Bumrah, a cow corner and a long on. Moeen's one of them at cow corner, just wiping his hands, got a cloth there outside the boundary rope to wipe his hands, taking some of the sweat off it on this warm afternoon. Root to Bumrah. Bumrah goes back and plays French cricket there and defends into the offside. Bairstow comes behind the stumps to pick up, and there is no run. Remember, we can go on till 10-7 tonight, or just about 10-7, and with light as it is, we might get through all the way, picking up some time lost yesterday. Root bowls to Bumrah. Bumrah, well, he's looking like a batter now, driving that out towards extra cover. Lovely silky shot. No run. When's the wipe going to come? Root goes in, bowls to Bumrah. Bumrah dead bats it into the offside, and there is no run. I know the spinners have made the breakthroughs here, but I wonder whether it's time to bring back a pace bowler, or do you think pace off is the better option here?
I think the batters would prefer spin, just in terms of less pace coming at you, but I do think the bowlers look really weary, and I just wonder if that opportunity for encouraging them to play a shot and then you set the field accordingly will work. I wouldn't mind a dovetail, someone like Overton at one end who just keep it stump to stump, make it awkward, get a bit of bounce, and then at the other, the spinner.
And the overs of those pace bowlers, Paul. I mean, in the field for 5 sessions now. We've had 139 overs. It's going to be Moeen to continue. Bowls to Umesh, who leans forward and pushes it out towards mid-wicket. Jimmy Anderson's bowled 33 overs. Robinson's bowled 32. Woakes has bowled 29 on his return and 15 in the first innings. Moeen bowls. There is the big shot. This is going a long way. Out for 6 to wide long on. Massive blow out there. Out towards the pavilion. Fielder at long on thought he was in business for a moment, Chris Woakes, but there was an extra club on that one, dragging it from outside the off stump.
England cannot afford to let these guys get a cheeky 20-25. That will change the tone again.
You have to sanitise the ball because it went into the crowd. Overton's bowled 16 overs. Moeen's in his 24th, and Root's in his bowled 5 overs for Root. 6 overs now. The ball has been sanitised. It's 421 for 8. The lead is 322. And Umesh goes to 80. It was too tempting for him. It was foolish outside the off stump. Moeen looking to perhaps spin one back through the gate. Here is Moeen. Bowls to Umesh, who props forward and pushes it back up the offside of the pitch. Crowd like that. I think the Indian supporters like that, actually. They like the fact that Umesh is not just going to wipe everything, he's going to play the ball on merit, but play with a certain judiciousness. Moeen bowls, angled away, past slip for a single. They've gone through for that one. They're looking at 2, it's not there. Overton runs back, rather weary looking Overton towards short third. 422 for 8. Tea is 15 minutes away. If a wicket falls now, play will continue for an extra half an hour. If we go past 20 to 4. Moeen bowls to Bumrah, who comes stabbing forward, wants a single. There is one in the offside. Vacant cover area. So Bumrah is off the mark. 423 for 8. It's a nice time to bat for these two. The ball's not whizzing around. The bowlers are tired. Loads of runs in the bank. They can actually enjoy it for a bit and bat for a bit. Umesh drives powerfully into the onside, beats mid-wicket, goes up to long on. And they'll have that covered with Woakes there. Another single. Burns rushing across, couldn't stop it in that straight mid-wicket position. Umesh Yadav goes to 10. And India to 424 for 8.
I think they should think about the line to some of these lower order. Very comfortable on the leg side, as we saw from the one he cleared, the ones he's knocked up to mid-on and down. And actually, with the lower order batters, they like kind of almost that up. I think they've got to think about forcing them to just play on and around that off stump and make it, if anything, a big drag around. It's too easy at the moment.
It's going to be route to continue. We've got 4 men back. Although mid-off is deep rather than long off. Root bowls outside the off stump, crashed away through extra cover. It will be a single. Diving Hamid, scooped up by Pope, coming in from deep cover. One more, 425 for 8. Lead 326. Root's making a slight adjustment with the field. He wants deep cover in a couple of yards. Root goes in, bowls to Bumrah, drags this into the leg side. I think he said that pretty well. He has. It's gone for 4 through square leg. No chance for Moeen. He's on the deep mid-wicket boundary. And this partnership, well, it's not a big one yet, but it's already beginning to hurt England. Hoping they were through when they got rid of Tucker and Pant. 429 for 8. Lead 330 now. Root goes in, bowls to Bumrah, stretches forward, dead bats that into the offside. The India supporters batting with these 2 lower order players. We encourage them every delivery. Bumrah on 5. Root goes into bowl to him, and he drives that to the left of Hamid, and they are through for another single. Time for the pace bowlers.
Yeah, it looks too easy, doesn't it? And I think also they're clearly the runs are flowing on the leg side. I think just tucking them up awkwardly on that kind of off stump line and then keeping it simple, really.
3 men out on the leg side now for Umesh, who gets the ball on the pads, which he clips away for a single. Yeah, the runs are coming a bit too easily, and there's not much pressure on them.
Yeah, they're unrushed in any sort of way, and I think they're licking their lips. This is the ideal scenario for both of these two.
Bumrah on 6. I said Root can tempt Bumrah to play a big shot into the leg side. He fires one through there, trying to get one onto the front pad, but Bumrah's equal to it. Getting that back out in front of his pad, pushing it back down the pitch. There's no run. 431 for 8. The lead is 332. How many of these 2 added results?
17.
17.
In 3.5 overs.
Doesn't sound a lot, but they feel like very useful runs in this situation. Taking it just over 300, closer to 350 now. 141 overs have been bowled.
A couple of things about India's batting. They batted pretty well as a team. Only Rahane, you would say, has failed in this innings, although Jadeja only made 17. Played a kind of useful role after the fall of those wickets with the new ball. Batted through 20 overs in a partnership with Kohli. But 6 of the top 8 have made at least 40, which is only the 12th time that 6 of a team's top 8 have made 40 or more in a test in England, and just the 4th time in the last 19 years. In terms of 4th innings at the Oval, since 2001, the average rate of runs per wicket in 4th innings is 36.9.
Moeen's going to continue. Goes into bowl to Umesh, who powers him down the ground, out towards straight long on. Wokes rushes round, picks up, and gets there, and keeps it down to a single. That's very good fielding from Wokes in the deep there at the far end of the ground.
He was doing a little bit of limbering up a moment ago. Just sense he might have a little bit more energy. Just get him in and get this done, because another 20 in it.
Yeah.
It's messy.
Moeen bowls. Bumrah plays a delicate late dab there. Down towards deep third. They're off for 1. They're coming back for the second. Overton's after it from slip. And they end up with 2 runs.
Bumrah wants to get up the order. Look, he's playing late dabs, sweeps, driving down the ground. Get me up the order, Skip.
Well, it's a nice position to be in, coming in this situation. He's done well so far. He stretches for that one. Ball is the toe end of the bat and rolls back towards Bairstow. Picks it up. It's quite wide, that from Moeen. 434 for 8. They're sort of hoping that Bumrah's just going to whack one up in the air. Moeen bowls to Bumrah, who sides that away out towards deep cover. The fielder out there doesn't see it initially, and they go through for another single. It's almost a shotter ball, a runner ball. Is Robinson out there? He didn't see it initially. It was a scything drive from Bumrah. It wasn't a catch, nowhere near. 4-3, 5 for 8. Moeen bowls to Umesh, he was definitely winding up for a big shot there, and then checked his shot at the last moment.
The lasso was coming out.
With the old helicopter, MS Dhoni. There are 3 men in the deep on the leg side. Umesh on 13, waits for Moeen, who bowls to him, and Umesh props forward and plays it back down the pitch. And there is no run. That's the end of the over. This partnership continues to build. 4-14 when the last wicket fell, 4:35 now. 19 very useful runs. 3-3-6 the lead, with just under 10 minutes to go until tea. What does Root do here? You feel he's going to have to bring back one of his pace bowlers.
Well, Wokes was...
Yeah, Wokes is going to bowl. Yeah.
It feels right. He feels the most threatening, potentially a little bit fresher than the others do. He would just create some problems, get some awkward bounce.
Oh, no, he's not.
Is it not?
Is he going to bowl or not? It looks as if
he's shaping up on the
Oh, yes,
crease.
he is. Yeah. The reason that I thought he wasn't for a moment is that Root was basically where he runs in from, but of course he's just going to have a chat with Wokes. That's the reason.
Just a little more on that 4th inning stat at the Oval. It's in test since 2001. Wickets have fallen up to 36.9 per wicket. Only the Basin Reserve in Wellington has a higher 4th innings batting average out of the 28 grounds that have hosted at least 10 tests in that time. So all is not lost.
No,
Simon.
well, it's certainly still a very good batting pitch, or it's become a very good batting pitch. I remember a game here when India won the series in the something like 2007. England made 360 for 6 in the final innings. I think set about 600. That was fine for India because they were leading in the series. They set England a huge target, something like that, 500-600 to win. In Bell, I think, got 100, and they were 369 for 6 at the close of play. No chance of winning, but they batted out fairly comfortably for a draw. 3-3-6 India lead by. Coming up to tea. Wokes moves in, bowls to Bumrah, push it through the offside, could be a run out. The bails are off, but I think they are often difficult to tell sometimes with the modern bails, look the same colour as the pitch. No, they're not off, but Bumrah played into the offside, set off for a single, close to Hamid, who threw the ball at the stumps, just missed them, and it would have been tight for the run out if indeed he'd hit the stumps. He didn't. Bumrah certainly got some confidence in his batting after those runs at Lords. Why not, actually? You think, well, actually, no, I can do it at this level. Wokes looking for his 3rd wicket. Bowls to Bumrah, who comes forward and strokes that nicely towards mid-off.
I have to say,
no run.
I think that the lower order batters, well, technically they've actually given themselves a chance. Thacker's come through the line, Bumrah, look, they're coming through the ball, so sometimes you see that full-on hackage, right? Agricultural shots, and it can look a bit messy. I actually think they give themselves a bit of a chance, and that's why they've hung around and caused some lower order damage.
Wokes goes in and bowls to Bumrah. It's full, it's driven back past the bowler, past the stumps, but not timed. Anderson tidies up from mid-on, and there is no run. Well, these two are advancing it towards 350. That feels psychological as well. 350 doesn't guarantee anything, mind you. I mean, there is enough.
So what's your money? What's a number that is too much to chase down?
Well, this might be, but not impossible because of the time left in the game. Wokes bowl. That's very well driven down the ground for 4 by Bumrah, past mid-off. Root can't get round. Is he struggling there with an injury to his right leg? As if he pulled something there as he tried to field the ball. He's bending down.
Well, it was hit hard and he tried to move pretty sharply to his right, and Looks like he might tweak something.
Is it his left knee? Anyway, he looks to be staying out there. It was just behind the left knee. As he bent to try to stop the ball. Sometimes you just jar your knee, you stamp it into the ground, and well, yeah, I think that's what it could have been. But also, you're just slightly stretching, you can tweak something as well.
For a moment, we need to also celebrate that shot.
There's a fine shot.
That was a proper shot.
340 the lead. Root is still bending down, feeling that left knee. Woakes is going into bowl to Bumrah. Bumrah plays a perfectly good defensive shot into the offside, and there's no run.
This innings has taken Jasprit Bumrah's Test batting average over 5 for the first time in his Test career. At the start of the series, it was 2.2. He'd only once made more than 6 before this series. That was an epic innings of 10 not out off 11 balls against New Zealand in Christchurch last year. So he's now got his 3 highest scores in this series.
So what were the reminder? What
28 at Nottingham in the first innings, from which he cleaned a 6 over square leg.
Woakes bowls to Bumrah, and Bumrah guides that away for a single down towards deep backward point, and takes the bowling as well at the end of the 143rd over. India 440 for 8. Bumrah 14, Umesh 13, and this 9th wicket partnership growth. I think Bumrah's not looked in any trouble at all. And we've got some tired bowlers out there. It's a flat pitch. It won't look quite so flat when he's got the ball in his hand in about half an hour or so, or 40 minutes. But and that is the one thing that would encourage England here, both I suppose from 2 aspects really. One is the potential for the draw, which is again just coming into view the more India bat, isn't it?
What were Bumrah's scores? Sorry,
so at 28 at Nottingham in the first innings of the series. Then Norton 34 not out at Lords, Norton 1 not out Headingley, and Norton now 13 not out. 76 runs in the series, average 19.
And this will give him a bit of confidence and momentum as well with the ball.
Last over before tea, unless a wicket falls. Moeen bowls to Bumrah, who does smear this away into the leg side. He's made good contact as well. He's hit it out towards Cow Corner for 4. He didn't have a fielder out there, but it was away to his left-hand side. Goodness me, he's taking some confidence from that second innings at Lords. Takes him on to 18. It's a good clumping stroke into the leg side.
That is a shot. He also he waited, he went forward to play it and then just held his shape.
Moeen bowls. Bumrah goes back and he wants to play one of those delicate late dabs as well, just to say he's not all about slogging.
I'm not all power.
Yeah. But he's a bit too close to him, so he guided it into the offside in the end. 4-4-4 for 8. Moeen bowls to Bumrah, who leans forward and plays down very well indeed, as if he's playing for tea now. So I've hit my 4. Now I'm gonna be not out at tea.
I love how he positions his grip. It's like very delicate, very purposeful.
Moeen bowls to Bumrah, who tries to go back and smash that into the leg side. He makes reasonable contact. He goes scudding up towards mid-on, and there's no run. He wanted to get right back into his stumps there and power it away, but it was a bit too close to him to get significant power and placement into the shot. 2 balls left before the tea interval, unless a wicket falls, in which case with 9 down we'll play on for another half an hour. Roots, who looks to have recovered from that knee problem, is just having a chat with Moeen. Moeen's going to bowl round the wicket. That's what the chat was about. Just waiting for Root to settle on his field. A leg slip's gone in rather than a short leg. And still that man at Cow Corner. There's no long on in, so that's a tempting area possibly. But Bumrah's happy to play for tea and gets a single, going right back into his stumps and dabbing into the offside. Overton comes from behind the stumps to pick up. So 1 more run to the total. 4:45 for 8.
Bumrah update, 82 runs at 20.5 in this series now. Before this, 30 innings in Test cricket before this series, 43 runs, average 2.26. What's happened?
Umesh Yadav down the leg side. Umesh tries to glance, misses it. It's taken by Bairstow, and that is tea.